Forgot to change the sound. The free sound for all. There's too much stuff to do on here to remember all this crap. Free sound for all. Okay. Happy holidays. Let's see if this works.
Samurai Nation
Now.
Podcast Network.
All right. Maybe you've run out of... Did you run out of chat points? I don't think... There's not a cooldown. Cool stream cooldown. Should be able to redeem the damn thing however much you want. La, 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 la. There's so much to do to get ready for this damn show.
The card of death.
Jesus. Oh, Lord. I'm scared. It's not supposed to be scary anymore. Except when you're with your relatives and your uncle starts talking about QAnon. That's scary. That one's called Cutting Onion Speedy. This is a food show, cooking show. Some interesting sounds here. Konnichiwa from Japan. Weird sounds. Everyone's tired of eating. Cool stream. Everyone's tired of eating. I'm tired of eating. I just ate, but I'm tired of it already. Had enough. Had enough food, but we're gonna do a food episode. Everyone loves the food stuff. This is a special food episode. I'm gonna put this one on the soundboard. It's the best fart sound. It's the best fart sound going. It's time for the cool stream. Just cooking up some popcorn. Oh yeah, forgot about this sound. I'm gonna put in some new sound. The bleep. How intensive subscribe? No, Howard Denby. Robert Denby gifted a tier 1 subbed. How intensive. Thanks for gifting the sub. And how intensive says thank you for the gift sub, Denby. Isn't that nice? Aww. And that's money in the pocket for me. It's money in the pocket for me. Let's see. Get some new sounds.
You see the candy, you see the Halloween pumpkins. You see the candy, you see the Halloween pumpkins.
Anybody want some of that candy?
It is the season of giving.
Cheaters cam style. Cheaters cam style.
Alright, I got some good sounds. Some good sounds in here today. Let's get that fart sound loaded up. Where'd that thing go? We need a fart sound. We need the fart sound. La da dee 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 dee. Let's see. Where can I put the fart sound? Where can I put the fart sound on the soundboard? Got a lot of sounds. How about instead of the emergency? Or how about here? Oh, no. It's not supported. This file type is not supported. Okay. We can fix that. Just real quick like. Let's take a couple minutes to get this fart sound just loaded on the soundboard. And then we'll get into the show. Fart sound. This is a good sound here. It's the sound of a fart being expelled from a, presume someone's anus hole, but it could be a fake one. I don't know. Alright, it's time for the cool stream, everybody. Yeah! Back again for another episode of a lot of fun and cool stuff. It's going to be a crazy cool episode. We've got a lot of fun stuff to look at today. I'm pretty excited. Let's get jacked up and jazzed up and ready to go. It's the Cool Stream. It's your favorite show on Twitch. We're cooking up some good stuff today. A lot of fun, a lot of laughs. It's going to be cool. It's going to be cool.
The Cool Stream.
That's right. It's the Cool Stream, the show where we look at some of the craziest, weirdest stuff on the web, and we show it to you. Sounds legit. We look at some of the craziest, weirdest stuff on the web. We're back again. We've been doing the show every couple weeks, and man, it's great to have that little week to build up your anticipation for the next episode. Yay!
Pretty cool.
It's a cool show. The Cool Stream. It's the Cool Stream. Hopefully it'll go off without a hitch today. Go off? It's going to go off without a hitch. It's going to be a great show. A lot of fun. I know everyone's full. They're tired of eating. They hate food. They're ready to go back on their diets. But we've got a food episode. Yay! That's what we're going to do today. Talk about some old school recipes. Weird, nasty food from way back when probably your grandparents used to make. Used to eat a lot of weird stuff back then.
You see the candy, you see the Halloween pumpkins.
That's right, we are done with pumpkins, but Halloween has left a lasting effect on the show. Okay, I don't want this. How about this? How about this song here? It's time for the show. We've got lots of cool recipes today. Taking you down memory lane of some of the old school vintage recipes from way back when. Back years ago when they didn't have good food to eat. They only had crap, nasty stuff. So we're going to look at some of the weirdest and nastiest stuff that you've ever seen. And you might get your piss and your puke buckets ready because it might be you might not last long with some of the stuff we're looking at. It's pretty gross. And it's cool. Let's see. Do I got anything up top to talk about? Not really. Had a good Thanksgiving. Ate a lot of food. Got really freaking full. Went and stepped on the old scale today. It wasn't too bad, but wasn't too good either. Making a grocery list. Oh, good. Oh, goody, good. Let's talk about this going to the grocery store. The surveillance state that they have now at the grocery store is insane. Taking videos of you while you load your groceries. This happened to me last week. Has this happened to anyone else? Go to the grocery store, scanning the items in the self-checkout. I hate the self-checkout. Maybe this is only at Kroger, but it's really finicky. It thinks you're trying to steal everything. Now they got these cameras in here. And as soon as you happen to, maybe you scanned something and it didn't go through, but you put it in the bag, all of a sudden the alarm goes off. The alarm goes off and it shows a video of you. Oh, you put the carrots in the bag, but you didn't scan them. You're trying to steal the carrots. Hate when that happens. It was an accident. Or when it says that you scanned it, but you didn't put it in the bag. It's like, who cares what I do with it? You're going to charge me for it. It's charged. The scan has been scanned. I'm going to pay for it. So who cares? I could throw it in the trash. I could go dump it in the toilet for all you care. You got your money out of it. Oh no. How we got exposed to COVID. No. Well, hope you're doing okay. If you have the vax, you should be fine. You may have to be up in bed watching curling or watching BugCon or whatever. Is that going on today? Is that still going on? Need to start rating some more people and try to get people to like us, like me. Please like me. Like and subscribe. Don't really have much to say at the top of the show. At some point, I've really would like to get some more guests up in here. Something I need to work on is making sure the audio levels. Of course, we had, speaking of Howie, he was on the show for playing some computer games, and it was fun. The audio was a little off, and that's on me. So I got to get that figured out. Because I'm just thinking of all the people I'd love to have call in and participate a little bit. Because it gets hard to do it yourself. Damn it. Aww. Anyway, let's go into the show now. We've got first before we start into this is going to be a good one here. Let's just show kind of a preview of what some of the stuff that we have just to see. Some weird Crisco's beef drumsticks. Weird stuff. Mushroom salmon loaf. Nasty. Really disgusting thing to create. But they didn't know better back then. They didn't know better back then about what to eat. They were just coming out of the Depression. They were all depressed. They had all this new food. And they said, let's just start making some crazy weird stuff. maybe it was these advertisers were like, we need to get people to buy Armor lunch meat. Armor's Star Bacon. Let's see what this is all about. Remove the crusts from the bread. Butter 4 slices, top with tomato and lettuce. Okay, so far so good. Spread 4 more slices of bread with mayonnaise. Place over lettuce and spread with chilled egg salad. Made as follows. Fry some bacon, chop and combine with eggs, celery, green pepper, minced onion, salad dressing, Worcestershire sauce. Now that sounds pretty good. So far so good. Bacon-y egg salad. And that'll definitely put you on the toilet. Doing some of that after you eat the egg salad. Holy moly. That stuff will get you going. Let's see. Flute edges with softened cream cheese. Place bacon slices in cold frying pan and cook slowly over low heat until crisp. Pour off fat as bacon cooks. Put it on top of the sandwich. Okay, so you could have just, I guess, I don't see the point of putting the cream cheese and the bacon on top. Put the bacon in the sandwich, leave the cream cheese, and you've got something good there. Let's come to a supper party. These are real. Howie's gonna make some weird food. What the heck is this? This hot prem sandwich gets them. It'll get them all right. Easy to make. Beat some eggs. Scramble. Fry 2 slices of prim. Oh, okay. I thought this was something else. I don't know what's underneath all that, but it looks like it's just egg and some Spam, so that's okay. But boy, do they make it look unappetizing in this picture. Of course, back then they didn't have advanced printing, full-color laser jet stuff that we have now, so it ends up looking a little weird. Pudding, we're going to look at lots of jellos and jellytons. A new grand dessert. Woo! Icebox cookie cake with jello puddings and pie fillings and Nabisco's new cacao nut bars. Nabisco's new cacao nut bars. Yum. I guess I would eat that. Icebox cookie cake. La la da da. Boom. Okay, let's go back to the beginning of time first. As you know, on the cool stream, before we get into vintage food, the most vintage of all time. Looks like I only have 2 free member stories left this month on medium.com/exploring history. But this is kind of cool. This is pretty neat.
Pretty cool! Pretty damn cool!
This is the street foods of ancient Rome. Food to go at the foot of Mount Vesuvius. Ancient Rome. Back in the day, the food of the wealthy Romans is well documented. They have recipe books. I guess that they used to carve on the tablets. They would pull out their tablets to cook their favorite foods. Back then, they were on the Mediterranean diet. And so everyone was svelte and thin and emaciated, and probably a lot of people couldn't eat, didn't really eat a lot because of how poor they were, some of them. In Rome itself, though, this is kind of cool. Have you heard this? In the urban centers of Rome, they actually had a nutritious and delicious and perhaps surprisingly, many of the foods they ate are still with us today. Now, what's kind of cool is that they would go down the street and they would go to the local fast food. They had fast casual eats and bites, quick bites.
Cheaters camp style.
They would go down and talk about what a lovely situation it was to go down to the tavern, the taberna, over in Trajan's Market. Cities like Ostia, Herculaneum, they basically invented what we would call street food. And that's food that you eat in the street. They excavated the drains and they found, who knows what they found down in there. human excrement where they could probably figure out what people were eating. The taberna, which is roughly equivalent to a food stall, be in a commercial space with an oven serving food. We love the foods. It was a great place to eat food on the go. Most people in the urban times, this is kind of interesting, they would live in these big apartments, just like we do today, and then they would go, they didn't have a kitchen, they didn't have any way of cooking food, so they would just go down the street to the local McDonald's of Rome, which is pretty neat. For those that did want a space to enjoy their meal, they would visit a thermopolium. That's more like a restaurant. Thermopolium. There's a bunch of them in Pompeii. So they had bread. I need to find a picture. Oh, I have one here. A picture of one they recently excavated of a thermopolium. They have this delicious bread. That looks pretty good.
Ooh, it's so good.
Oh. That looks pretty good. A carbonized loaf of Roman bread. That's what they would eat. I don't think it was that color. That's a carbonized version of the bread. But, of course, there's a lot of carbs. Anyway, it went from being a carb to being carbonized by the volcanic stuff. But they had grains from Egypt. The bread baskets would use the grain and make bread. Of course, they had legumes, and eat too many of those. You know what happens there? Chickpeas. They were eating hummus. Infamous Mount Vesuvius preserved the city's culinary registry legacy today. They had nuts and fruits and breads and all that good stuff. Meats, liver. They would eat out, and not what you're thinking of, probably. But maybe they did some of that too. Some of their orgies. Ahoy hoy. Okay, you've confused me with that name there. A moho. That's Alez. How do you say it? Alez? The name confused me there. I thought you were somebody. I thought you were somebody else. But now I know who you are. I know who you are. I'll be watching you in the chat. It's Thermopolium and Pompeii. Pretty neat stuff. So here it is. The archaeologist unearthed an ancient fast food restaurant. Allez. Here it is. A photo of this one that they just unearthed. Look at that's pretty cool.
Look at that.
That's pretty cool. It's like a fast food place. The fast food guys would go there.
Cheaters camp style. Cheaters camp.
Instead of being in their car, they would be in their horse and buggy or whatever they had back then, looking at the bread and olive oil that they would get from 2,000 years ago, and they would do a review for everyone. Review this. They had deep jars full of hot foods, kind of like a salad bar. And they had, according to Sci-Fi, okay, Associated Press reports that vulgar graffiti was also inscribed there. Thermopolium, one of the snack bars of Pompeii. They had pictures of all the stuff. People were in there eating foods when the big eruption happened and exploded everyone straight to hell. But it preserved one of the great foods from history. Palumpe. Looks like a toilet. Kind of does. They had their big jars in these little containers here would have all the food. And that's what you could order. You could order some chicken, some duck. See if we have a video for any of this stuff. I don't really know. Don't really know what I have planned for today. So we'll see what happens. Here's a virtual reconstruction of the Roman tavern of ancient times. We have to go back thousands of years to start our culinary journey. And then it'll take us to all the different gelatins and stuff. Now that's neat. That's nifty. It's crisp. Thanks. Whoa, I didn't get... This one I didn't change the color on. Let me fix that. Trying to do some new stuff here with some of the visuals.
The card of death!
Holy crap. People are gonna be hitting that one up today. Okay, I'm not looking, so hopefully you can see what's going on in this video. Reconstruction of 3D. Now, here's a cool channel. I need to go back and watch more of this channel later. Historical Italian cooking. This is medieval lentils with
Welcome to
oregano.
our kitchen. Today we prepare medieval lentils.
The
From a book of dietetics.
lentils. This guy does old school cooking and medieval food.
Welcome to our kitchen. Today we prepare medieval lentils from a book of dietetics written around the 11th century.
Shouldn't laugh at how people talk. I can't tell if this is someone doing an accent or someone's actual accent. Either way, the medieval lentils.
The flora dietarum, belonging to the tradition of the Salernitane Medical School. We start with the ingredients. We need lentils,
We need the medieval
white wine vinegar,
lentils.
olive oil, black pepper,
Oh, baby.
cumin, oregano,
All
and
good
mint.
stuff. Did they do Thanksgiving back then?
First, we cook the lentils.
Ooh,
in
it's so
plain
good.
water, without salt or other ingredients.
Wants to
We
drink
just
the
need
blood.
them to take a boil. The author recommends using big
Oh, it's so
lentils.
good.
But we
it's so
chose
good.
small ones to reduce the cooking time, which can be very different
I like how this guy
depending on the
talks.
variety of lentils. But we chose small. We cook the lentils in plain water, without salt or other ingredients. We just need them to take a boil. The author recommends using big lentils.
The reason we need the big lentils. We need the big lentils.
But we chose
guy's
small
legit.
ones to reduce the cooking time, which can be very different depending on the variety of lentils.
We needed the big
This
lentils.
required
We
about
cooked the
half
fish.
an hour.
It's robust.
When the water boils,
You gotta have a
we
strong
discard it
arm to
and
do the
pour new
mortar and
water in the
pestles.
pot to cook again the lentils.
Cook the lentils.
Meanwhile, we pound the spices in
Pound
the
it.
mortar and add
The
the
pounding.
mint and oregano.
Cook the lentils.
There are two variants for this recipe in the Flora Dietarum. We chose the lean
Cook with
version
the
with
lentils.
olive oil, but you can also use fat meat, for example pork, beef or mutton, and cook it with the lentils. In this case,
Cook
chop
the
the
lentils.
meat into small pieces and choose a kind of lentils that requires a long cooking.
The pounding.
We read
the
a similar
lentils.
recipe in Le Régime du Corps, written in French by the physician
Cheaters camp.
Aldebrandin of Siena, who lived in the 13th century. In his
Ooh, it's so
recipe,
good.
the
Ooh,
lentils
it's so...
are prepared in the same way and dressed with mint, parsley,
lentils.
sage, and cumin.
Cook the lentils.
In the past days, we found a lot of wild oregano and water mint near a river.
Wow.
So we decided
Make
to
sure there's
use
no
them to
dog
prepare
piss on
this
that.
recipe.
That's
In
one
any
thing
case,
that
use the mint.
one thing that I would be afraid of if I think the foraging stuff is interesting for cooking. You get some interesting foods out there, but I would be afraid of that there would be some dog piss or cat piss on some of those. I guess you wash it off and it's fine. But knowing my luck, I would pick the herb and it would be covered in
The oregano
in
you
urine.
want, and you will obtain an excellent outcome.
And I would hate that. I would hate to
We are
eat
using
something.
dry
I'd hate
herbs,
to
but if you
ingest
prefer,
urine in any
use them
form.
fresh. In the
It's
text,
nasty.
the anonymous author did not specify it. According to the 15th century physician Michele Savonarola, lentils cooked with olive oil
Lentils.
are better than the ones prepared
man.
with meat, Actually, Savonarola considers them
Cook
a
the
bad
lentils.
food that may produce several kinds of diseases. But believes that the best way to prepare them is by adding chard or spinach.
For the
The Greek
lentils.
physician Galen, in De Facultatibus Alimentorum, written in the 2nd century, describes in detail this preparation. He recommends it to the healthy and sick,
He recommends you cook with the
writing that
lentils.
Heraclides of Tarentum lived between the 3rd and the 2nd century before the Common
Cook
Era,
with the lentils.
already used it. This dish is made mixing chard and pounded
Cook with the
lentils,
lentils.
cooked 2 times, adding
must
salt
cook with the
or
lentils.
garum, and an astringent ingredient such as vinegar.
Cook
We
with
find
the
the
lentils.
recipe with lentils cooked 2 times and dressed with vinegar and sumac in De Observatione Ciborum by the Byzantine physician Antimus, which
Interesting. History guys are kind of interesting. So I've got the book pulled up here in the comments down below. It had his book, Registum Cucurini, a medieval cookbook. We cook the lentils, man. Introduction by Marco Gavio de Rubiz. And the author is by Johannes Bockenheim. So, is that the guy doing the video? Because that sounds like a German guy. Written in the 15th century by the German... Oh, okay. This is a... written in the 15th century by the German ecclesiastic Johannes Bockenheim. Under Pope Martin V, the Registrum Coquini is one of the most interesting and funny medieval cookbooks. Okay, so Gavio Marco Rubiz is the one who translated it from the olden times. That's interesting. Cook of the meatballs, too. It's an old-timey medieval cookbook. And that's the book that this video we just watched. The Registum Coquini. Translation about the recipes and lentils. It's over in the Alps, that's right. The Lombards. I think this guy is just translated the book from the 15th century. That's cool. I'm going to watch some of that later on my own time. You can buy it in Italiano. And he's got a Patreon. Let's start plugging people, and maybe we'll get this guy on the show. And I won't mention the fact that I made fun of his accent. Here we go. Historical Italian cooking. It's creating historical recipes. Legionarius, you get access to a new recipe. If you pledge $3 a month, you get access to even more recipes. You can be a consul. You get all kinds of stuff. Italy. This is interesting stuff. Here it is, historical Italian cooking. I guess I ought to give them a follow. See what stuff they're doing. We love that old stuff. We love the old stuff. This is the Vintage Foods show. Cooking the lentils. Pretty cool. I'm not gonna do...
Pretty cool!
I like to look at the medieval stuff, but it's not going to be the entire show. I just thought, you know, it's a vintage, we're talking about vintage food, so why not go back in time? Let's see what kind of medieval porridge that they've made back in the day.
Dear Wit, and welcome back to the world that was. Today, I'll be taking a quick look
Just
at
like
early
these
medieval
kinds of
cuisine
channels.
by recreating a very simple cabbage pottage.
Ew.
Pottage is, essentially,
Yummy.
anything you toss into a pot to cook. So naturally, there's a huge number of variations on the recipe.
Ooh, it's so
This
good.
one, however, leans heavily onto medieval Irish culinary traditions.
Irish leeks.
In any case,
I'm gonna
let's
get
now
into
take a look
making.
at the world that was.
I'm gonna start getting into leeks. Is what I figured out. Probably have watched too
To
many
begin
of these
with,
videos.
we need to deal with our head of cabbage.
Let's
I'm using a
deal with this
Savoy
thing.
cabbage because they're in season at the time of recording, and they also were popular overwinter cabbages, so it works well here. Start by washing your head and removing the tough
Washing your
outer
head.
leaves before cutting it in half.
Put some shampoo
Medieval
on
kitchens may have used the outer leaves when cooking, but I'm excluding them here, as these ones were very tough and rubbery, which would have drastically increased the cooking time. When that's done, cut the head of the cabbage in half, identify the tough core, and surgically remove it with a knife.
Surgically remove
Cut the
it.
remainder of the head into thin slices.
Cut the head. Don't
The
cut the
thinner you cut
head.
this, the faster it'll cook.
Ooh, it's so good.
Next, wash your leeks and slice these into rings. Keep every segment roughly the same size so they'll cook at the same rate. You can, of course, use the greens and root bulb of the leeks, as that was probably what was done in the medieval period, but I'm leaving them out here.
What kind of knives did they have back then?
And finally, you need to peel and chop your onions. I'm using yellow onions, but really any variation will work here. Cut them in half and cut them thinly so they'll cook very evenly. Next, pour some butter or olive oil into a large pot and place it over a medium-high heat until it heats up. Then, when it's hot, go crush a clove of garlic or two into it, along with your onions, leeks and cabbage. On top of everything, pour about a litres worth of water, or a broth or stock of your choice, or as much liquid as you need to bring the water level just over the ingredients. Toss your rosemary sprigs on top of this, give it all a stir.
I'm
as
gonna
best as
try
you can,
this. This looks good.
and put the pot over a medium heat. Cover it and
Porridge.
let it simmer for about 30 to 45 minutes. It should be done when the onions and leeks have become soft and very tender. Serve up in a bowl with a bit of the broth and dig in. The finished dish is light yet filling. The real star of the show is the broth. You can, of course, sieve out all the cooked vegetables and use the remaining liquid as a soup stock or broth. The cabbage I used, Savoy, doesn't really break down in the cooking process very well, unlike other cabbages, and so it retains a very crisp crunch that contrasts very well with the soft leeks.
Sounds like you messed up the
Pottage,
recipe.
as a dish, was a simple
Pottage.
staple for large populations in the medieval period,
Porridge.
as it was a very quick and simple thing to make, as seen here, but was very nutritious and filling.
Pottage.
The overall recipe was also adapted to suit things that were readily available. For example, if you wanted some meat, you could just boil a few cuts along with your vegetables. If you don't like rosemary, you can try sage, mint, or coriander. And if you wanted to thicken it slightly, you could add some dried oats in with it as well.
Alright. Porridge. Medieval porridge. I thought it was more ravioli. Yum. It's a medieval porridge. Check this out. The Food Dictator. It's an interesting name. I'm anti-fa against the food dictator. This is not the soup Nazi. Share my recipe widely. Yeah, I don't think they should be LARPing as the food dictator, the Generalissimo. Okay, this is an interesting site. You know, sometimes I find these websites and I don't really look too deep into them, so it comes as a nice surprise when we find something like the food dictator. I was just thinking it's interesting. Medieval times, back in the day, they would use what's called a trencher. It's a type of tableware used in medieval cuisine. It was bread, used as a plate, upon which the food could be eaten. With another meal, the trencher could be eaten with sauce, which is most likely given as alms to the poor. Maybe, or given to the dogs. A trencherman was someone devoted to eating and drinking, often to excess. And they cooked the lentils. The food dictator. Oh, here we go, podcast. It's pod time. Turn the Trencher was his traditional party game, which an adult spun a platter on the edge of the middle seat of the ring of children. The child, whose name's called, had to stand and run to catch the platter before it fell. The trenches. Anyway, they used to eat bread bowls, basically. They would grind their cereal grains to make the bread. They had loaf bread culture. And man, we still have that today. Sort of like flatbreads in the Middle East. Pita bread. Medieval trenchers. Using bread for food, they used their plates. Big, thick slices of bread. Oh yeah, they had lots of regulations about bread because the food was so central in people's lives. They needed to make sure the poor could buy bread. In some places, the government would make sure the price of grain did not rise too much. England, the assize of bread was created in the 13th century. They had laws against bread that you would make sure everyone got the right size loaves. They would try to cheat. Sometimes they would mix. Here it is. Sometimes they would mix the bread that had been mixed with dirt or chalk, or even had an iron bar inserted into it to make it weigh more. These crazy medieval hucksters, back in Bohemian bread bowl. Yeah, nowadays the bread bowl is kind of a weird, excessive. It's usually the pasta bread bowl from Domino's that you hear so much about, which is just too much. But this is kind of funny that back then the bakers would try to get away with skeeving people, mixing dirt and chalk, sometimes an iron bar to make it weigh more. Make it way more delicious is what I say. Give me that iron bar. Everyone needs iron. Iron helps us play. There's an interesting book too about, I don't remember what it's called now, but it's pretty good, about medieval, going back in time to the medieval days, and the historian talks about stuff like that, where they would, little tricks that they would do to try to scam people out of money, like putting iron bars in the bread. Added the tree bark to bread dough. Wow. Yikes. Chowder bread bowl. Now that sounds good. Yep. Back then in the medieval days, tremble before our gastronomic hegemony. The food dictator. This is weird. Here it is, the food dictator. Okay, I can't get off track too much. Citizens, pay heed and bask in the incandescent glory of the food dictator's gastronomic wisdom as your glorious leader eloquently dishes on the most authentic world recipes. The food dictator. Weird. This one talks about, this is MrBreakfast.com. You've heard of Mr. Food.
Ooh, it's so good.
He's kind of like Mr. Breakfast. What is gruel, and did orphans really eat it? Dear Mr. Breakfast. Dear Mr. Breakfast. Young Joel. Gruel is the thin porridge. Flour gruel. Delicious. Gruel. Did orphans really eat it? You bet. Like Oliver Twist. So now that we're getting into food eaten by the poor and impoverished. But let's get into some food see if this is a good transition to do. Let's get into some food when all of a sudden there was just too much food and we had to start inventing weird food. And basically when they had started, let's go back to when they invented weird foods. And let's get into that. That's going to be mostly what we talk about today. Some of the weirdest foods you'll ever see. I really have gone down the rabbit hole to find lots of these gelatin recipes are pretty interesting and pretty
original recipe,
bizarre.
This dish is prepared from fillets of red fish, olives, eggs,
Hamburgers.
herbs, lemon, and pomegranate.
Do
For
that.
booty,
Burger
you
stream.
can add a
Something
little
good.
white fish.
Good food?
The appetizer for the festive table comes out good. Cut the fillets of red and white
This
fish
is about
into identical rectangles
some aspic.
and boil until tender. Attention! Cook the fillets in different containers, adding salt, pepper, and bay leaf. Cook for 12-15 minutes after boiling, then remove and cool. Slice the lemon into slices. Cut the eggs lengthwise into several pieces. Rinse the greens, and peel the pomegranate. Add gelatin to the fish broth, following the instructions on the package. If the taste of the broth is not saturated, use a
Bleh.
seasoning for aspic. All the prepared ingredients.
Okay, so you're going to want to use the fish broth and mix your aspic with that, and then you'll have a nice jelly. Hamburgers are weird food. You'll have a nice jelly gelatin to put all your fish into.
Are beautifully laid out on a dish.
It looks
Carefully
cool,
pour in the
but
cooled broth with gelatin.
I guess.
We put the dish in the refrigerator to freeze.
Eh.
Bon appetit.
Bon appetit. Jello salad. Okay, we'll look at Jello salad. And then I'm going to go back to some more aspic stuff, but here's the modern day equivalent of aspic, and that's Jello. Maybe I should read about what is Jello and what is aspic, and maybe I have some websites for that. I don't know. We're about to find out. The Great Aspic Renaissance. We'll look at that next.
I want to show you guys
Give me that
jelly
gelatin
salad. There it is.
There it is.
Oh, yes. Okay, so it's a salad set inside jelly. We've got boiled egg in there. We've got some capsicum. We've got cucumber. We've got...
These are Australians or New Zealanders. This is an interesting channel that I found. Hold on, let me see if I can find what it's called here. Sticky TV. Sticky TV. They haven't put out a video in years, but I guess it was some kind of Australian TV show. Sticky TV. And here they're going to eat some Jello.
Celery. What do you guys think of the looks of that thing?
What do you think of that?
Well, I mean, I love jelly and I love salads, but together...
There's New Zealanders.
Oh, we need to try it out to find out if that's the case.
Do we
Come on,
like
guys.
the
Get your
jelly?
fire in ya. Nice big scoop of that. Now, I just want
Nice
to point
big
out that no
scoop of
party
jelly.
was complete in the 50s without this meal. So let's
We had to eat the jelly.
Oh, yeah. Okay, please.
Yummy.
Yeah. Let's go with the celery.
Ooh, it's so good.
That's something else.
This is
that's
Mr.
for sure.
Food. This is Mr. Food from New Zealand.
Oh, yeah, I'll go with the boiled egg.
Yummy. Ugh. Nasty.
He likes it. How's that going for you guys?
Not
The
as
jelly.
bad as I thought.
Oh, my moment. Yeah?
Did they have
okay,
jelly?
It's going back out again by the looks of
Australia?
things. Whew.
I mean, it's okay. I can see why people would enjoy that.
I just don't like the boiled egg part. The rest might taste good, but the boiled egg is not good. Okay, sounds like Jar's pretty happy that we no longer have jelly
nasty.
salad.
Hey guys, if you like that video, make sure you click down below and subscribe to our channel.
Yesterday on the show and over the
Nasty.
weekend, we posted a picture. I think we had one
Good
picture.
aspic.
We have a picture of this. This is a Jello mold salad, a Jello salad from the
Little
1960s
Richard loved
with shrimp,
aspic.
egg.
Good aspic is good. Okay. I guess that's something they eat up there in Finland. Tutti frutti. I just can't handle the gelatin.
And peas.
It's just gross
Yes,
to me.
they used to serve these at dinner parties in the 1960s.
I bet nobody ate it and it still looks exactly like that.
Well,
I bet it's still alive from the 60s.
I
You
have
know.
a surprise.
All the stuff, it's got a surprise. Christmas table. The Christmas table. All the stuff inside of this aspic, if we can go back to that. All the ingredients, that's all good stuff there. Shrimp, we love shrimp. Eggs. These are a little bit, kind of how I like the eggs to be done. With the yolk. It's a little bit more soft. And peas, can't go wrong with that. So you would think this would be good. I'm sure if it's savory, I bet it's okay. It's just when you get into that green lime jello mixed with stuff is when I start to. And we'll look
Nobody
at some
ate
of
it
that.
and it still looks exactly like that.
Well,
Hey,
My
I bet
favorite
it's still
food.
alive from the 60s.
I have a surprise. I made one this weekend.
You
And
made one?
Cody, I actually made this. This is a shrimp, egg, and pea jello salad.
It's beautiful.
Are you sure you didn't use swamp water instead of jello?
That is a green. Stop it. That's
Jello?
That's jello.
What kind of jello is this?
Well, let me just tell you about this bitchin' recipe. I had
hope
to
it's
search
not
and
Jell-O.
search and search to find it. These were popular at dinner parties in the 60s.
Fought
Here's
for
what you do.
independence.
It is chicken broth flavored jello.
Oh, seriously?
Guys,
I don't even
it's
want to
Fat
look at
Tuesday.
it.
It's a day of great food.
I'm not kidding you. I can't imagine that these went out of style.
I don't know why. Here's how you make it.
For
Here's
shame
how
they
you
don't
make
make
it.
these anymore. What a delicacy.
You boil 3.5 cups of chicken broth, and you add your clear gelatin. You then let it sit for an hour.
Thank you for
and then
using
you place
Coolscape.
all of your delicacies in it and let it chill, and you get this beautiful concoction.
You know what? I was feeling very brave, and then I thought, man, I've enjoyed so much this morning, and I still want to eat some more. I just don't know.
I had to take a picture of it, though. I had to take a picture.
Taco salad at. That's what I came out here
I thought
for.
you were trying to trick us on the potato salad. Yeah.
Oh, no. See, that was a little bait and switch. Yeah, diversion.
Who
Does
wants to
anybody
try
want to try
some of
it?
this?
No,
Anybody
but
want to
I
dig in?
will.
I'll have shrimp cocktail, the one that's not inside the goo.
No, gotta have Jello with it.
Joe Morano, get down here by me, Joe.
Let me give him some.
Oh,
Okay.
guys, this.
Savory Jello. So maybe I'll give it that.
Ooh, it's so good.
Maybe I'll give it that it's okay, that it all has a consistent savory flavor, and then you get into the texture side of it. A lot of people are texture heads, texture aficionados. They don't like things that are certain textured. So this could be one of those things because it's kind of gooey.
Wait, let me set it down and I'll cut him a piece.
Gelatinous.
No, do not cut a piece. I will not eat a whole piece.
I'm gonna give you a piece.
Give me a piece.
I spent hours. This took a long time to make.
Wait, I actually have a serious question.
Yes.
How did you make it look so pretty? Like, it looks like the shrimp is like just, you placed it so like...
Yes, here's what you do. After you make the Jello, you let it chill, you put it in your mold, then you have to let the mold sit for about an hour, a little over an hour.
Okay.
Once it starts to somewhat congeal, then you have to hand place everything. So I would seriously do this. If you
So I
want
can
to
just like shove it in the Jello?
You shove it in the Jello, place it, and then I would take the bowl and I'd lift it up over my head,
and
it's
look
clear,
to see
and
if
look.
it's like a flower
Yes,
arrangement.
to see if it was looking symmetrical or if it was looking right. So, okay, let me just...
Maybe
Okay,
it needs
here
to
we
come
go.
back in style, but we hope not.
The Jello you like is coming back in style.
Look at that.
Get it in there.
Delicious,
Joe,
Joe
are you the
Morano.
guy? You the guy?
It's like
Try
even
it.
the cake is
Yeah.
throwing up. Look at that.
Look at that.
It moves! It moves! It moves!
Jerry, aren't you curious
I need
about
my
your
throw
I may
up
try a
sound.
little bit. I may try a little bit. Let me...
I'm ready for this jelly.
I'm worried about the chicken broth flavored...
That's what you're worried about?
Yes, it sounds disgusting.
Joe, did you try it?
No.
Okay, get in there. You. I'm going to try
That's a
it.
good piece of shrimp.
This is savory.
No, I
It's
didn't.
savory.
Chaos.
Shrimp with this on it.
Look, you try to get a bite and the whole thing comes out.
Jeremy, you trying this? Oh, buddy.
It
Guys.
looks like plastic. The clear looks like plastic.
Did you just spit that out?
100% you did.
So gross. It is disgusting.
That's awful.
You know, I tried first just chicken broth Jello.
Just give me a second. Oh, gosh.
Nope.
I gotta get
I want to throw something out and
That was not.
I think he made it wrong. He must have made it wrong. These are the morning show freaks. Morning show. Morning. Are we ready for an aspic comeback? That's the question we're asking ourselves today. Aspic. The aspic renaissance. Aspicos. Is that a medieval food? Aspicos. Many consider spaspic is the most gelatinous food meat by most. Unique dish, slowly cooked gelatinous animal or fish parts, which form a broth. Aspicos is the grand centerpiece that gets its shape from the Jello mold. Maison Nico in San Francisco makes nothing like the yellow Jello blobs of yesteryear. One is pescatarian, lobster, fish, all that good stuff. We love the fish. Is there any ones that have lentils in them? Seductive loaf. We're not ready for aspic. We're not ready for the seductive loaves. But Americans did innovate on the Jello, and we'll get into that stuff, which is fruity stuff. Americans innovated on the fruity loaves. Maison Nico. Do they have aspic in Argentina? Vintage cookbook. Vintage jello salads. Aspic and jello and aspic and jello. What am I trying to say here? Aspic and jello, I think, are different things. Aspic to the roster. San Francisco, they use pork salami mortadella encased in a gelatina of clarified apple cider. Crab cakes with spicy tomato aspic. Fish forward terrine in aspic flavored with fennel and tomato. I think if the ratio of stuff, of filling to gelatin, I think that's probably more my speed. I think it's when you get a big mouthful of gelatin that I'm gonna be disgusted with that. I don't like that. Gabagool. Gabagoolies. Savory jello. What is this? Northrop Grumman. Northrop Grumman. Assortments of jello for the aspic. Okay, so these are different recipes. Tomato with Glix gel. And then you have the sweet jello from the cookbook's gelatin fruit salad section called Golden Glow. You need some of that golden glow. This is when it gets off the rails, is when you start making the salad with the fruit gelatin. Aspic. Oh my gosh. Alice is going off. The effed up TV cretin. This manages a cultural gem of a recipe on live TV. Some toilet bowl persona laughs at it while they all gag and spit on the set. Yeah. So anyway, let's get into some of the weird. I think we can all agree these fruity ones are nasty. We won't comment anymore on the meat, on sort of the classic meat ones. But this kind of stuff, the fruit cocktail, is a no bueno for me. Tomato aspic. Okay, this is the Golden Glow fruit salad. And here's the volunteers are tasting from the joy of cooking. There's Isabella, and Lauren and Hannah are all going to try the jellos. They put on a 50s and 60s Spotify playlist. Okay, had some appetizers. Everyone liked the rumaki. That has bacon. The crunchy, smooth water chestnut. Now the tomato aspic. Here it is, the close shot of the tomato aspic. And here's Santa Claus. Is that, what's his name? Samuel Jackson. Capital One. Okay. Shout out to Capital One. And they did not like the tomato jello. Ew. Corey Feldman. Because a jello is a dessert dish. Congealed ketchup. They don't like it. Looks like they didn't like that one. I think we can all agree that it's Santa. A little mayo on top. A little vodka would make a Bloody Mary Jello shot. That sounds good. Bloody Mary Jello shot. Now, Jello shots, we can all agree that that's good. And here's the next one. So many ads in here. I guess my ad blocker's turned off. Whoops. That's why we're seeing old John Travolta's Santa Claus. It's probably going to ask me to whitelist my freaking browser. Okay, anyway, that was the worst thing I've ever eaten, says Lauren. The golden glow. Okay, so the golden glow is the one that had pineapple and carrots and all that. And that, I think we can all agree that that's pretty vile. Don't mix the fruit and the vegetable stuff. No, thank you. Okay, we've got some TikToks. We love the TikToks. Here's some of my Halloween TikToks that I didn't watch. There's some interesting people doing a lot of good TikToks out there. Okay. Tuna salad jello. This guy's famous for doing his recipes.
Tuna salad jello. You bet. What are you doing with that tuna, Dylan? Oh, you know, making jello. 1969 Lubbock, Texas Community Cookbook. Cup of water. Salt. Fire. Half a red onion. This was written by Mitchell White. Of course, that's his name. This recipe is making me cry, not the onions. Gelatin, vinegar. Already smells like death. In you go. Really, Mitchell? I want to know who hurt this man. Celery. Make sure to chop it up all fine and disgusting. 5 ounces of albacore tuna. Are we sure this recipe wasn't written by a cat? Was Mitchell a cat? Now we wait. Oh, boy. Oh, how did we get to this? I do this for you. Oh. Mitchell! That's not food. This is a war crime. Tuna salad jello. You bet. What are you doing with that tuna, Dylan?
Tuna salad jello. Gerblin. Pineapple, carrot, cabbage, and raisins. Okay. I'm not going to insult your culture anymore than I already have. Getting canceled over here. But do they put it in jelly? That's what I'm wondering.
Let's check out some vintage recipes in my Boomer Mom's cookbooks. Because nothing sounds better in a lime jello mold other than radishes, mayo, and cucumbers. They even had to gelatinize guacamole. That's Richard a goddamn felony.
On all these videos.
Cheddar and cottage cheese in orange jello. Bitch, you high? Why they gotta put peas in
Okay. Why they gotta put peas in everything? Nasty salmon. Add croutons. Tuna toes sound like a dirty Urban Dictionary. Tuna toes. Impromptu seafood party. I seafood and I eat it. Boomer TikTok. Boomer. Liver frittata. What about this one? What is this one?
Head cheese. Delicious.
Uncle Funk says no. This is a classic weird recipe. Let's see if I can find. I think we're done with aspic, but we're gonna get back to some jello. Jello salads, and then get into some other vintage weird stuff. But this is a classic one, the candle salad.
No, man, this Valentine's Day? No problem. Let's make a 1950s candle
died
salad.
for this
Start
dish.
with 1 piece of lettuce. Oh, Betty Crocker,
This guy.
what are you up to? French Revolution, your pineapple. You could just use canned pineapple if you're a communist. Peel a banana. Betty, darling, put the banana. You're out of pocket. This one's European. Insert what? 1 toothpick in the top. Add 1 maraschino cherry.
Youch.
For the flame. Oh God, what are you doing? For the candle wax. What? And with that, your candle salad is finished. No shit. Doesn't tell you how to eat it. So I don't know if I need a knife and fork or I need to tie my hair back. Good morning. I mean, it tastes like a banana. Have a good Valentine. Stay safe. No, man, this Valentine's Day?
This guy's funny. B. Dylan Hollis. Here we go. Spaghetti Jello. He makes all kinds of weird stuff. He has 5 million followers. That was the candle salad.
A spaghetti-o jello ring from the 60s.
Now, I've been unable to confirm whether or not this recipe actually existed in the 60s. Not that I particularly want to, but seemingly
Everybody and their dog has sent me this.
What is this voice that he's doing? What is this flag back here? I think this is sus. That we've got this Union Jack flag back here. Anyone in the chat tell me what this flag is? It's got a Union Jack and then a red and then some kind of seal emblem. So it's probably some sort of colonial... The Brexit. Really? Is that really what it is? I would believe that. And this guy, I guess, is not... Doesn't appear to be British, but he is doing a really weird voice that I don't like. Dylan's Kitchen.
A spaghetti-o jello ring from the 60s. Now, I've been unable to confirm whether or not this recipe actually existed in the 60s, not that I particularly want to, but seemingly everybody and their dog has
Bobby's Lives Matter.
Into a saucepan goes a quarter cup of tomato soup, quarter cup of water. Now,
I mean, if you look at this guy, I wouldn't doubt for a second that it was some kind of weird right-wing thing. If you just look at this hair. Look at that hair. That's all I can
quarter
say.
cup of water. Now 2 cups of gelatin. Wonder what demon we'll summon today. Fire! Now that this is completely smooth, we remove from heat and
Now
add
that
2
this
cans
is
of
completely
SpaghettiOs.
smooth.
Is life insurance expensive? Into a bunt. Good night. Ooh, did I mention there were sausages? Because there are sausages. I don't want to do it.
SpaghettiOs.
Ooh, it's so gooda. Ooh, it's so gooda.
Crazy. Oh my word. A spaghetti-o jello ring.
A spaghetti-o jello ring? Just watch more of this guy's. The sawdust pie. Deep fried cookie dough. A spaghetti-o jello ring?
A jellied meatloaf from 1931. We begin with a pound of ground beef. You don't want the sky beef, that would be scary. Fire! Who's mooing now?
God,
Strain
this
it
guy.
and let it cool. It's not dinner time until you add a pack of gelatin to some water.
Just, you can do videos where you talk normal. If this guy really talks like this, I would be a nightmare to be around. Spaghetti-o meatballs?
A jellied meatloaf from 1931. We begin with a pound of ground beef. You don't want the sky beef, that would be scary. Fire! Who's mooing now? Strain
Fancy
it and let
feast.
it cool. It's not dinner time until you add a pack of gelatin to some water. Onion and celery. Celery. You know what stings more than a knife? Rejection. Now 2 cups of chicken stock. Time to boil. Strain the stock into the gelatin. No veggies allowed. Thank you for your
Vaudeville twink.
Now that this is thick, we add in
He's the Zoomers generation of Jim Carrey.
This is revolting.
Vaudeville, that's what I was thinking of.
What a joy.
Why?
To the fridge.
Drain the jello into the frickin'... That looks pretty gross.
Incorrect. It's a cat food recipe. Choke. A jellied meat.
A jellied meatloaf. Magic mayo. Hey now. Magic mayo. Interesting. Frog eye salad. He makes all the nasty stuff. Pepper cake. Choufle pie. It's chocolate sauerkraut. Okay, now that's not good. I don't like this guy. 7-Up Jello salad. Bean pie. Watergate salad. That's a classic one. Let's check that one out.
A Watergate salad from 1976.
From Ronald
One of the many
Nixon
questionable
or
substances
whatever.
people experimented with in the 70s. Pistachio pudding. In you go. Crushed pineapple. Hello, you have any cream, sir? Cup of fluffy boys. Smells like a Palm Springs retirement home. How to
God.
beat it. 6. One of the many questionable substances people experimented with in the 70s.
What?
Pistachio pudding. In you go. Crushed pineapple. Hello, you have any
Crushed pineapple.
within the 70s. Pistachio pudding. In you go. Crushed pineapple. Hello, you.
Crushed pineapple.
In you go. Crushed pineapple. Hello, you have any green, sir? Cup of fluffy
no.
boys. Smells like a Palm Springs retirement home. Time to beat it. Cooperate. Good night. Optional walnuts. Make some whiskey. Cheers. Ooh, yep. Nixon would have loved this. It's not bad. It's just a cup
Nixon
of
would have
diabetes.
loved it.
I can feel my teeth rotting.
I can feel my teeth rotting. Jello. That's some weird stuff. We started with the aspic, and then somewhere along the way, they invented Jello, and then everyone decided in the 50s or whenever, let's make these Jello salads, and it's just not good to eat. It's just not something you should eat. The ladies of the Presbyterian Church loved their Jello. Jello, dish after dish of jiggly, shining Jello, molded, even a jellied tuna salad in the shape of a fish. Cherry red with fruit, pistachio green, nuts, and marshmallows, clear lemon yellow studded with vegetables. I mean, just thinking of lemon with any vegetable. Get that as far away as you can from me. And not a regular lemon. We're talking lemon Jello. Yuck. The glory days of Jello salad. Few foods can tell us more about life in 20th century America than the wobbling jewel of domestic achievement, the Jello salad. Holy moly. It had fallen from the culinary favor by the 80s, but you'll find it in church basements across America. The gallery of regrettable food. Okay, we'll check that one out. It's an icon of, shaped by the icon of time, industrialization of the food system, World War II, and changing expectations about women's labor. Dan Dean McCoy. Jello was the first food not in black and white. Here we go. Gelatin goes all back to medieval times with the lentil jellos in your trencher bowls. And then the jellies became foods of the elite, molded centerpieces of nobility. They rendered the collagen of animal bones into Jello. It was not for the faint of heart. I'll say, I'm sure that'll raise your cholesterol about 50 million points. Eating some of that stuff, but I bet back then they were low on cholesterol, so they needed more. I want more. Wine jelly. That sounds pretty good. Like those jelly gum, wine gums that they have up in Canada. Under the sea salad. Under the sea. Pears and cream cheese lie beneath a clear sea green layer after unmolding. Jello lime gelatin. Ugh. And cream cheese. Ugh. And pears. Okay, no one in their right mind would think that's good.
What's up, guys?
I've been to Europe. I've been to Italy, and they didn't have none of this stuff in Italy. You're telling me they're gonna eat under the sea salad in Europe? This is I thought this was an American thing to eat this kind of stuff. Now aspic, okay, we're not gonna go into that. We'll give you that. But how they went from this kind of stuff, the great bones of 4 calves' feet, with all of this stuff in it, boiling the flannel bag, to this, the under the sea salad. It's amazing. It's the Florida of Europe. Italy's the Florida of Europe. You could say that, and that would make Rome, the ancient city, would be Tallahassee or something. Domestic science. That's where Jello started. The director of Kraft Heinz. Wait, hold on a second. Let's go back up here. Railways were on the rise. American Food Systems, 1897, a cough syrup maker, patented the brand name Jello. Jello, and processed food industry was thriving. And now Kraft Heinz owns the Jello brand. Tapped into one of the biggest currents of the era, domestic science. Food historian Laura Shapiro, in her sweeping study Perfection Salad, explains that around the turn of the century, many women emerging middle class began linking the changes brought into their homes by industrialization and scientific advances. The spirit of domestic reform embraced efficiency, purity, cleanliness, and order. Jellied salads were mess-free, never transgressing the border of the plate. And then put one of those salads in front of me, I'm going to be getting a messy, eating that thing, slopping it up. So they had different mixes, gelatins. They didn't have to use up all their sugar. It was neat and tidy. It was much valued by the domestic science movement, as well as by its Victorian forebears who were mad for molded foods. Jellied salads. 1906 Pure Food and Drug Act, passed after the muckrakers jungle scandalized the nation, and they created the FDA. And now the FDA is making us do the vaccine. Thanks to Jello. Thanks to Upton Sinclair. Gelatina. Jello adds the Jello girl, the Jello man, making his Jello shots. Sales of sugar were rationed during World War I, but in the interwar period, the popularity of gelatin salads soared. Oh, it all comes down to the Depression. Everyone was depressed, so they used every ingredient you could ever think of. The introduction of lime-flavored Jello gave the salad trend a boost. Entire cookbooks were devoted to the lime Jello. It's insane. Lime Jello. It's a wise woman who says, "Genuine Jello, please. A Jello salad makes the meal." Wow. When was gelatin invented? Okay, let's go back. 1902, Jello sales. 1997, a cough syrup maker patented the name Jello. So that's all we have here. The Jello that we know and love was invented back then, but the aspics and all that sound like that was medieval days. Okay, let's get into some videos. Only a bad wife would buy the off-brand Jello. I want the real stuff.
Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, welcome as well. In today's video, I'm going to be making a retro lime Jello salad. So let's get started.
Let's go.
First, you're going to take a brick of softened cream cheese and add it to a mixing bowl. I just put this on a microwave safe plate for a little less than a minute. I wanted to soften the cream cheese. I didn't want to melt
cream
it.
Cheese.
So that way when I add in this Jello powder, it will just mix easily. So I'm just adding in about 3 ounces of the Jello mix, and I'm just going to mix these two together. I decided to mix this using a wooden spoon, but you can use a whisk or mixer. And we're going to set the stovetop to a low to medium heat.
7-Up salad.
And we are going to just pour in the 7-Up. This is a 12-ounce bottle of 7-Up, and we're just going to pour it all into a saucepan.
I hope everyone can see this video.
The marshmallows. I added in a lot of marshmallows. I want to say maybe half the bag, because I really wanted to solidify the mold. So I figured
the mold, you could have some mushroom Jello.
And then I let it cool down just a little bit, and I mixed it in with the Jello cream cheese.
Put it in your mold.
And now I'm just greasing the bundt pan to make it easy for the mold to slip out. And I'm going to put it in the fridge overnight. You can put it in the fridge
that thing gets stuck in the mold,
or check it after 4 hours.
That would be a big fail.
And this is how it turned out. I'm very pleased with the result.
It's delicious. It's gross.
That is a lot of Jello. And tonight on Matty Ice Reviews, we are going to be making Jellos with this stuff. What the heck?
Matty Ice reviews Jello from the 50s.
What's up, guys? And yes, tonight we are going to be making Jello molds. No, it's not the 1950s. It is the 2020s. So this is kind of a strange thing to make.
Square
and I found a cookbook in our house. It was left here. It's a Mennonite cookbook that I think is from the 60s, 1975. There you go. And it's from Sugar Creek, Ohio. So the Mennonite church down there put this together, and it had a lot of old school recipes. So the 50s,
old school Jello
molds were these things that you would make with Jello. You literally, it was like some type of fancy food. You would put things into it, and you would mold them up. Very creative. Well, you would think so. But a lot of times, it's just putting weird ingredients into Jello. There's ones that had shrimp, tuna. Some of them weren't so bad and had some fruit. You had apples, you had banana, you had pineapple. So Square and I thought, let's go ahead and try and make some of these. Are they really as bad as they sound? Now, I remember one time in the 90s, my mother made a Jello mold, and it had, you know, some fruit in it. I think it had celery, and it had like shredded cheese, and it was green Jello.
God.
I just remember eating it, and this was awful. I already don't like Jello, so putting things like fruit and vegetables and cheese into it just didn't make any sense to me.
Just give me the plain
Square and
Jello.
I found 2 recipes online.
I'll have some plain Jello.
The first one
That's
is going
good.
to be a little bit more on the
Don't
normal
put
side.
anything
I think
in
it might
it.
actually be pretty palatable. This will be what's called...
Don't put anything in the Jello, and I'll eat it. I remember in cafeteria school, in the kindergarten cafeteria at school, they would serve this red Jello. Fruit, vegetables, cheese, Jello. It's nasty stuff. This isn't the highfalutin aspic of Scandinavia. This is down and dirty, just abhorrent food. Anyway, in the cafeteria, food they would serve on a tray. And they had this Jello, red Jello, and it had... And I would always be excited because I liked Jello. I would get the green Jello, and I liked green Jello. I mean, it's good. It's tasty. It's like Kool-Aid, but in gelatin form. Anyway, it was basically like this, it had pineapple in it. And the Jello had pineapple in it. And I was a kid, and I was so upset and so disappointed that one of my favorite dessert snacks, just some plain old cherry Jello, strawberry Jello, had pieces of fruit in it, and it was disgusting. Made me want to throw. It's heading for trauma. Made me want to throw up to have such a delicious dessert snack that I liked be ruined by having a piece of fruit in it. So that's where it all started for me with this damn Jello crap. And since then I've had different things. I've tried it. I had a grandmother that made... Grandma made some Jello once and did not like that either. So I've tried.
This is Sarah's take on
Here's some Jello
mold. Looks pretty good.
Looks pretty good.
And I didn't show you guys this one. I made this one myself. It's a surprise.
Yeah.
It's a twist on a popular dish. So that's our Jello molds. We've got all of them lined up, and we are going to start with the 50s. We're going to see if these Jellos from the 50s are as good, or if me and Square can do better. So
you can do better.
We have our weird one.
Natty Ice
Reviews.
Reviews.
I figured, let's start with the normalish one. The Under the Sea one was kind of supposed to be a lime cream Jello kind of combination. The bottom is the
Under
cream.
the Sea
You've
one
got,
is nasty.
Cream cheese mixed in with gelatin, and I believe there's pears in here. And then the top is just a lime gelatin. So we'll give Square fork. I'll get a fork, and we're just gonna, take a scoop.
Natty Ice.
Boy. I got a lot of the cream.
What is that?
There we go.
Creamy orange Jello.
It's very creamy, and we didn't mix the cream cheese too well, so it's a little on the chunky side.
Chunky cheesy.
It doesn't smell terrible. It doesn't smell great.
No.
Creme.
There's also a little bit of ginger in here. It's not bad.
It's not as bad
It's
as I thought it was going to be.
Bad. It's not good.
The pear juice that's in here.
Pear juice.
The bottom
is
not
not good in any way.
Strange. Look, Thunder even wants to try some here. You want some, baby?
How about this one? How about the red
video. She put some fruit in there. She's got some carrots. We've got blueberries and
Jello
some cheese.
mukbang.
And
walnuts.
Walnuts, and it's a raspberry gelatin. So it actually sounds pretty good, and it looks
sounds
really
pretty
good.
damn good.
Definitely the most appetizing that I've seen so far.
Pretty cool.
So let's just dig right in and try and get a little bit of everything. I want a little piece of cheese too.
Translucent cheesecake.
And some cheese.
It doesn't smell bad. It smells very good, and the raspberry gelatin it smells like a like a slushy to me. So all right, let's give it a try.
Cheese in it.
I bet.
That's not bad.
I bet.
It's nasty.
Minus the carrots, it would be really good.
Right. Because the cheese,
Cheese is salty.
Yeah. And with the walnuts, it's got the crunchiness too.
I guess I can see that, but not for me. Not something I would enjoy to eat. Cheese and Jello? Okay, what else? What other Jello stuff? Here's this website. Jello, the thing for which there's always room. Giving the girls a taste of the newest, most up-to-date salad idea. That's right, Jello. Gelatin. The new Jello. It dissolves in warm water. They've got lime, lemon, lime, orange, strawberry, raspberry, and cherry. 6 pure flavors. The purest of flavors that you could ever get. The new Jello. Science marches on. Boiling water no longer needed. Yum. Well, darling, I must say you're looking smashing today. Your hair, your square jaw. Why, the general trend towards unemployment, deindustrialization, and abolition of the male role as breadwinner seems to have brought out your most attractively mannish qualities, which frees me up to express my own effete, Leslie Howardish feminine aspects. Smashing. Let's celebrate by pretending this darkish slab of Jello is an expensive ham, shall we? Okay. Nuclear power and no boiling water Jello. Okay. It's almost a Gauguin. Alright. This is from the book. Asparagus salad, it says here. Asparagus Jello. Now do you want to try this stuff? I'm not going to read all this. Orange moss. Wish we could see the actual recipe. And 6 fruit flavors, the Greater Jello recipe book. This is advanced, futuristic. We started with the Jello and then we went off into the future with flying cars. Jello entries. Okay. The Gallery of Regrettable Food. The menu card collection. Here's some different gel cookery. That sounds interesting. A completely new guide to gel cookery. Gel cookery. That's what we're talking about. Jello. Aspic. We're going to get in trouble for talking about aspic again. Meat thing. Scalp of Klingon. Okay. That's funny. We're obsessed with finding answers. How stuff works. Meat Jello. Okay. What else do we have here? We've got some different websites like Vintage Gelatin Instagram. You can see some of this stuff. Sliced, it's got cheese and looks like lima beans. Cheese, lima beans, looks like some deli meat, carrots, and that's just a good old salad for you. Cranberry bowl, the turkey fruit salad. Bring that to your Christmas. You've got the chicken salad that's got the grapes, apples, nuts, some mayo, and then you put that in the cranberry bowl. Now that's just good eating. Lemony salmon tower, stars on salad tray. Okay. I never said what I was drinking here. I just cracked this one open a little bit ago. Let's take a break from Jello. But I do have all the classic flavors. Strawberry lemonade. This is called Rowdy Energy. Green tea caffeine. Endurance and focus enhanced hydration energy. It's Dr. Axe's keto diet approved. Get rowdy. Life is busy. You need an energy drink that will keep you focused and driven throughout the day. That's why Rowdy Energy by Kyle Busch has 2 levels of energy. One for the instant surge you need, and another slow release to give you the sustained energy you crave. It has L-theanine from the green tea. That'll get you lifted. I don't know who Kyle Busch is. Is that a race car driver or a sports guy? Anyway, that's what I'm sipping on. It's pretty good, I guess. Excuse me. Okay. Here is the vintage gelatin Instagram. If the dried beef is too salty, pour boiling water on it. Mix the gelatin, stir in the beans, beef, celery, cheese, lemon juice, onion. Pour 1/4 cup into the mold. Refrigerate until firm. So that's like a dried chipped beef gelatin mold, which is a classic dish. Yummy. Surprise! Mayonnaise in the mold of a masterful meal. And flavored gelatine. Man. Oh. What's going on here? Had a bit of a spill explosion of cream on that thing. Had a cream explosion on whatever this thing is. It's turd jello. Uh-oh. Click the wrong button. Okay. That's vintage gelatin. Mmm. Yum. Molded chef's salad. Let's see, what other stuff do we have? Also joined this Facebook group, which is called Disgusting Vintage Recipes. So we can look through the stuff that people have posted there. It's a private group, but now you get the privilege to see on the cool stream because I've joined the group. I love joining some of these groups on Facebook. It makes it a lot more fun to look at. All the beans. Satisfy the inner man with good hearty and page beans are good for your budget too. So let's get into some vintage recipes. How much longer do we have to go? So we'll get into that. Just some old good old-fashioned vintage recipes. Enough of this gelatin stuff, although that will come up again. What was this comment here? For the inner man, aka colon, LMAO. Laughing my ass off. Liver pudding. Oh man, that sounds pretty gross. Cook and chop up the liver. Cook rice in milk. Fry onion in lard. Add liver, rice, salt, and pepper. Stir in syrup, raisin, and eggs. Bake in a moderate oven for about an hour. This makes a large pudding and it's not too bad. Not too bad. Even if you don't like liver, you just may like this. So it's a liver pudding, rice, onion, corn syrup, raisin, and eggs. Yeah. They were dirt poor. That's true. All you had is all they had was liver and raisins. It's depression food. When I'm depressed, that's what I like to eat, is a liver pudding. Country style groundhog. Let's see. Speaking of groundhog, let me see if I can find this thing. Let me see if I can find something here of a cool guy that recently made some interesting stuff on his Instagram, including it was like a porcupine. Here he is, Charles Phoenix. He made some weird stuff for Thanksgiving. If I can find, he made this thing. Look at this. This is some weird hot dog turkey. Turkey dog. Look at that thing. It's crazy. I think this is just for fun. I don't know if this is something he was intended on eating. Just for the gram. And then he said he left it in 24 hours and now it looks like that. But that's pretty weird. Feasting on liver pudding. Here it is. The rainbow meatloaf porcupine. Make Thanksgiving memorable this year. Rainbow porcupine meatloaf. It's what's for dinner. Ground pork and rice meatloaf with multicolor toothpick quills. So he's into that weird kitschy stuff and made this porcupine meatloaf thing. Looks pretty blackened. That made me think of it. Whatever we just saw there made me think of his porcupine meatloaf. But he's into all this kind of kitschy, weird stuff. I wonder if anyone else made this. Rainbow porcupine meatloaf. Nope, doesn't look like it. He was the only one crazy enough to do something like that. He's whacked out of his head. Let's go back to the nasty food recipes. Squirrel stew. Clam rolls supreme. Let's see what else is on here. Molded tomato ice cream. Oh man, that sounds bizarre. Let's see. Custard. Can barely read this. Custard and lemon juice. Custard mixture, whipped cream, sugar, ice cream. Weird stuff. Molded tomato ice cream. Nasty. Disgusting vintage recipes. Let's see. Here we go. In Ireland, they had jelly served as a dessert with some ice cream. Now that sounds good. But in America, they made it into a salad. Ambrosia. Whoa. Excuse me. Fruit salad. People like this one. I could take it or leave it. It's sort of on the edges of acceptable for me. But that's an old-timey fruit salad that's got whipped cream. I guess it mostly has sweet stuff, so then it's got to be good. Frankie Doodle Dandy. Meet Frankie Doodle Dandy. He rides on an English muffin. He's a Swift Premium Frank. And he's all splayed out and boiled to death and spread out on the English muffin. Frankie Doodle Dandy. Grandmas love the Waldorf salad, or whatever that was called. Ambrosia. Waldorf is kind of similar, I think. Oh, wow. This is a lamp. Veggie eggy loaf. What? It's a lamp? Or is it they put a light on it or something? Huh. These are lamps. Weird. That's kind of cool. Creator of non-edible food sculptures. Whoa. That's pretty cool. Whoa. These are lamps. That's kind of cool. I might have to get one of these. I'm I'm gonna have to get one of these on Etsy. I assume that's where they are sold. Whoa, that's pretty cool. You could have a Jello salad lamp. I don't know how you make something like that. Some kind of translucent stuff that you pour in there. It looks like glass. Man. Resin. Gallons of resin. Used to pull off the sculpture. Crazy. That's neat. That's pretty neat. Now that's one way that you could use some of these old Jello things to make something new, which is make them into these sculptures. And then you don't have to worry about eating them. You just have these little at the Jello lamp store. All right, good night. You can enjoy your dreams of aspic lamp commissions. Whoa. All these people love the weird kitschy stuff that go overboard. Oh, this is a lamp. This is a clock with deviled eggs. Can't just throw a dinner party and not offer deviled eggs as an appetizer. Which is why I thought it doesn't fit the theme of Jello, but it's a dish. Now that's cool.
Pretty cool!
Let's go back to aspic. Let's go back to talking about how much we hate aspic. Here's one of the spaghettio salad. Alright, I'm gonna have to see where I can buy one of these lamps. Okay. We do have this one. Deviled eggs. Huevos diablos. That's something else. Huevos rancheros. I like these. This is where you're gonna find most of your weird food stuff, is in these old advertisements from old magazines from the 60s, where they would be in the Home and Garden magazines, and they'd have an ad for Del Monte tomatoes, add the onion. So it's basically a commercial for stewed tomatoes, and then they would make a little recipe for you. Buy our tomatoes, and you can make this. It looks like some turds. Looks like 4 piles of poop. It's basically what that looks like, is fecal matter from an ass that has been excreted and put onto a plate. That's basically what that looks like to me. Here we go. Icebox cooking. Ham meal in a mold. Gelatine with Miracle Whip. Miracle Wimp. Cabbage, ham, all that good stuff. There you go. Meal in a mold with your unflavored gelatin. It's all protein. So this, I think maybe the keto guys should be getting into this stuff. You could... They could get really into making Jello molds. It's a meal in a mold. It's all protein, no sugar, according to the box. It's just one meal, and you make it in a Jello mold. It's good for you. That would be pretty funny. Here's some breakfasts. Prem. Pass the prem. For hate to get uppers. This looks pretty good. This is some breakfast stuff from Swift's Premium Meats in a Can. Bodybuilding meat proteins. They were all about protein back then, because it was the Cold War. And you never know if little Timmy is going to get drafted to fight against Russia in the nuclear wars. If you're going to get blasted straight to hell by the atom bomb, you needed your Swift meats. Prem. That looks pretty good, I guess. I don't think that would be too kind to my digestive systems. Breakfast steak, saran wrap, Adolph's Cooks quicker than bacon. It's Adolph's steak. Adolph's instant meat tenderizer. What in the world? Directions are on the jar. Sprinkle just before cooking to seal in juices. Cut shrinkage and cooking time. I think I need some of that. I need to cut my shrinkage. If you catch my drift. That doesn't sound good. Whatever the hell this is, I don't think it's cooking, works meat cooking magic. Somehow tenderizes your meat. That's probably going to give you cancer. Or brain damage or something. Breakfast steak. Adolf loves his steaks. Here we go. Spare ribs. Don't spare the spare ribs and have some mint. Have some spearmint gum. Okay, I don't know what that has to do with anything. These are just ads from probably Good Housekeeping or some of those kind of magazines. Cheeseburger. There we go. That's a classic American food. The Spanish call it paella. Paella. Make some paella and then have a Wrigley's gum because your breath is going to smell and you're going to be burping and farting all night long. Donuts on the spare ribs. Ham and yam dinner. Yummy. How about the hot cheese treats, Italian style? What does that mean? What does that mean? You get a little pepperoni bowl on top. Huh. I think we're figuring out that it's the advertisers that invented all this weird crap. The food stylists over at Kraft invented these weird recipes because it would sell their food and it was something cool to look at. Don Draper was back in the back cooking up the ads and said, we really need something that pops off the page. That pops off the page. How about some meat roll-ups or whatever? Look at that thing. Oh my god. That looks pretty good. The ad wizards. Who are the ad wizards that came up with this crap? The zestiest way to pack protein into kid-pleasing meals. The Gouda salad bowl. Flavor up a crisp tossed salad with cubes of Gouda. Sounds good. What's so Gouda?
Ooh, it's so Gouda. Ooh, it's so Gouda.
One pot supper. Whoa. Check that out. That's cool. Great. Here's another pan-fried nut burgers. Delicious, easy to make. Packed full of everything like chopped nuts, raisins, rice, and toasted bread crumbs. Pan-fried nut burgers. And then chew some gum while you're at it. When your breath stinks after you eat that. Nut burgers. Good lord. Crusty spam bake. Oh. That looks good. A mega gigantic sandwich. Cheese. Old English bread. Protein in every slice because Kraft gives you generous full ounce slices. Whoa, look at that. Big sandwich. Gravy. Okay. Just love these old ads. They're neat. They're vintage and funky and weird. Oh, check this out. It's kind of fun. The new faces of 1959. Look, the hamburger men. And light bulb ladies. Isn't that fun? They really had to do some crazy stuff back then to get people's attention. The ad wizards had to come up with that stuff. Hot doggities. Do. Wow. What other stuff do we have? Nut burger. The candle salad. That's weird. The Christmas candle salad. Cherry and banana mold. That's just, whoever came up with that was just, had a warped mind. They had to know what that looked like. A banana with some stuff on the end of it. I mean, come on. That's not something you want to bring to your Christmas, your church bake-off. You don't want to have that on your church bake-off. But let's, another classic meal, and then we'll get out of here. Sort of vintage, I think. If I can find it here. It's a classic meal that you know and love.
Flying Jacob, Swedish, Flygande Jacob, is a Swedish casserole that consists of chicken, cream, chili sauce, bananas, roasted peanuts and bacon. In the original recipe, the chicken is seasoned with Italian salad seasoning. The dish is cooked in an oven and is usually served with rice and a salad. The dish was invented by Ove Jacobson, who worked in the air freight industry, hence the name. The recipe was first published in Swedish cooking magazine Alt Om Mat in 1976.
The Flying Jacob.
Topic. See also.
The Flying Jacob Wikipedia article. So wet.
Flying Jacob, Swedish. Flygande Jacob is a Swedish casserole that consists of chicken, cream, chili sauce, bananas, roasted peanuts and bacon. In the original recipe, the chicken is seasoned with Italian salad seasoning. The dish is cooked in an oven and is usually served with rice and a salad.
Pictures in this
The dish was invented by Ove Jacobson, who worked in the air freight industry. Hence the name. The recipe was first published in Swedish cooking magazine Alt Om Mat in 1976. See also. List of casserole dishes. List of chicken dishes. http www.thehindu.com. Today's paper.
Whoa, let's rewind that. There's pictures of Rocket League. Oh man. There we go. Flying Jacob. Love that stuff. Okay, we'll be back. I have a ton of other ones that we're going to do, like such as the infamous banana ham hollandaise. Incredibly gross ham and bananas hollandaise. Medieval bacon. It's going crazy. We'll be back next time. Well, I've got a big list. I think our next, I don't know what our next episode's going to be, to be quite honest. But I do have a ton more videos in this list, all about microwave cooking. So that'll be an episode. I'm thinking it'll be more of like a cooking gadgets. We'll do microwaves and some of those Ronco gadgets, the slap chop and stuff like that, made for TV cooking gadgetry. I think that'll be fun to do for an episode. I've had a bunch of microwave videos because those are fun to watch. Microwave. Okay.
That is crazy. Oh my word.
So, not much of a crazy weirdness on this episode. What am I trying to say? It wasn't much of a crazy episode, but we did do some fun stuff. We got to check out this guy who I will be subscribing to.
We just need them to take a boil. The author recommends using big lentils.
We did find this guy who we'll watch later. I'll subscribe to that. there anyone we should be raiding today? How about that? Let me just take 5 seconds to prepare for this. We've got BugCon. Okay, do we want to raid BugCon? What are they doing over there? Bug TV. That's probably what we're gonna do during the commercials or the credits or whatever you call it. Because people love that. I don't know if we'll get a shout out. I don't know if they're gonna say, "Hey, thanks for raiding." But we love when they do that. When we do the big raid and people give a big shout out.
Thank you for using Coolscape.
Not much else going on. Not a lot of updates. The Cool Files blog. Check that out, I guess. Bug TV. Coming up next. We'll do that. We'll do the credits. And let me get that typed in here. I don't know what they're doing over there. I guess I'll have to give it a watch. It's at Comic Con or something. So then we'll do the credits and we'll be seeing you next time.
The Cool Stream.
On the Cool Stream. We'll be seeing you next time.
The Cool Stream.
On the Cool Stream.
The Cool Stream.
Alright, hope you enjoyed that episode. We'll do some raid, we'll do the credits, and then we'll be seeing you. We'll be seeing you next time on the Cool Stream. Bye-bye. We'll be seeing you next time.
This was the Cool Stream with Beowulf. Thank you for watching the Cool Stream with Beowulf. This was the Cool Stream with Beowulf. Woo!
Thank you for using Coolscape. Thank you for using Coolscape.
See the Halloween pumpkins.
Love you all so very much. That's the first thing we want to tell you. You are in good hands.
My name is Fred Spencer, and I do videos and animation.
Well, first of all, most of my movies were silly.
We don't know the right people. We haven't sucked the right cock. Well, I say it's time that...
Bye, Beowulf.
Thanks, Beowulf. Have a good one.
You gain access to the web.
Look at that. Wow, wow, wow. Look
The
at that.
Cool Stream.
Ooh, it's so good.
Anybody want some of that candy?
This can
Anybody want some candy?
Ooh, it's so good. Wolf in the chat. What's up, B-Wolf?
We just need them to take a boil. The author recommends using big lentils.